Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/AmITheDevil for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the posts, giving you my own opinion, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for calling my sister-in-law a liar? I, 31 male, live in San Diego. My older brother, 34 male, recently got married to a woman from India, 30 female. They had only been dating for about 7 months, but her visa was expiring, so they decided to get married sooner rather than later. My brother and I have always been close. We've done a lot of favors for each other over the years, and one thing we've always had is trust. We don't lie to each other, even about little things. Recently, I had to travel to India for work. The project is in a pretty remote area, and by coincidence, it's close to where my sister-in-law's family lives. She told me not to rent a vehicle because her family had a Jeep I could borrow. That sounded perfect, so I thanked her. When I arrived, her family handed me the keys to a Mahindra Thar. I was confused and asked where the Wrangler was. They looked confused and said, "This is the Jeep." I didn't want to make a scene with her family, so I just took it and drove it for the week. It worked fine and got me where I needed to go. When I got back, I asked my sister-in-law why she told me her family had a Jeep when they actually had a Mahindra Thar. She said, "It's the same thing." I told her, "No, it isn't. Jeep is a brand. Mahindra is a brand. A Wrangler and a Thar are completely different vehicles." She said everyone where she's from calls vehicles like that Jeeps, and that she didn't think there was any difference. I said that's ridiculous. By that logic, I could point at a Chrysler PT Cruiser and call it a BMW X5, because they're both SUVs. They're obviously different cars made by different companies. I'm gonna have to pause right there. If you haven't already Googled a Mahindra Thar, let me enlighten you. This right here is the interior and exterior to a Jeep Wrangler. Notice the general shape, even down to the actual clips for the hood. Take a look at the interior. The 2 levers for activating 4-wheel drive and the gear shifter, the screen, the infotainment, the general assembly of the interior. Now this, the next one, is the Mahindra Thar. Notice the face, the general shape, the headlights, the latches for the hood. And here's the interior. Just look. And now, for the next one, because I'm pissed. This is a PT Cruiser. Look at its general shape. Now look at the interior. Look at this general shape. This is a 2009 PT Cruiser. I'm gonna be as close as I can with the comparison because fuck you, OP. Now here's a BMW X5 from 2009. Take a look at this interior. Now, take a look at the exterior. Is that in any way close to the PT Cruiser in comparison to the Jeep and the Thar? Now that we have this bullshit out of the way, let's continue. She got upset and said I was being intentionally difficult and that she wasn't trying to deceive me. I told her that if you told someone your family owns a Jeep Wrangler when they actually own a Mahindra Thar, that's lying. My brother says I'm being pedantic and that she was using Jeep as a generic term, the way some people say Kleenex for any tissue. I don't think that's comparable. If someone specifically tells me they have a Jeep, I expect them to have an actual Jeep. For what it's worth, I'm grateful they let me borrow the vehicle. This isn't about the flavor, it's about telling me something that wasn't true and then insisting I was wrong for pointing it out. Am I the asshole? You know what, dude? I get what you mean. If I ask for a Band-Aid and I receive a box of adhesive medical strips, I'm gonna be pissed. This guy would have a fucking aneurysm if he went to the South. Hey, can I have a Coke? Oh, what kind of Coke do you want? A Dr. Pepper? A Pepsi? I want a Coke. Yes, I understand that. But what kind of Coke would you like? In the comments, OP says, well, it might look the same, but the suspension, etc. are not of the same quality. Motherfucker, you weren't lied to. That is the most Jeep-looking Jeep I have ever seen. Like, if you, debadge those and put those right next to me, there's a pretty good chance I would get it wrong at first glance. I'd probably figure it out after a little bit when I look at the cheaper plastic parts and go, oh yeah, that's the Jeep Wrangler. Because that's actually the first thing I noticed when looking at the Thar, is the fact that it has more painted body parts than the Wrangler does. Now that does probably point to the fact that the Jeep Wrangler is more meant for off-roading and those plastic parts will get damaged, but still, if it was debadged, your ass would not know. Unless, of course, you're a Jeep fanboy, similar to how I'm a BMW fanboy and I know my chassis and engine codes. But if I was put in an off-brand BMW, I would be excited because I'd be tearing it apart with so many curiosities of what does it do good? What does it do bad? This is kind of cool. I'd have a lot of fun. I'd definitely pop the hood open and poke around a little bit. Like, you are presented with a really unique automotive opportunity, and obviously you care enough to care about a Wrangler versus a Thar, but like, to have the gall to compare a Wrangler and a Thar to the same thing as a PT Cruiser and an X5, and then call your brother a liar over it? How fucking dare you? Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for defending my ex's achievements because my girlfriend was putting her down? I dated Olivia for 2 years. The breakup was mutual, and we stayed close friends. My girlfriend now, Josie, isn't a huge fan of me being friends with Olivia, but is working towards accepting it with her therapist. The big thing is both of them come from different backgrounds. Olivia's mom is an NP, nurse practitioner, and her dad's a lawyer, so financially, her life has been good. She's the only children, so a lot of attention was placed on her. Josie grew up in poverty, and both her parents OD'd when she was super younger. Her brother was her main guardian, but a lot of her teen years was working so she could survive for herself. Josie admits she gets jealous when Olivia talks about her life, or when I start worrying about Olivia's mental health. Josie and her friend was discussing colleges. Olivia goes to one of the top 20 schools, while Josie goes to community college. I'm proud of Olivia for getting in. Well, Josie and her friends start talking about the kids who get in because their parents usually have a lot of money. I got the sense Josie was talking about Olivia. She said she wasn't, but realistically, students like Olivia have more opportunities and resources that will help get admitted, compared to kids like herself who are either working or at school. I told her Olivia worked really hard to get into that school. Josie said she knows that. She's just saying it's easier to do extracurricular and volunteer hours when you don't have to worry about how you're going to afford groceries. I told her she was just jealous of Olivia again, and it's getting really sad at this point. The admission team clearly saw something in her that got her accepted beyond her social class, and maybe if Josie had balanced her time better, she could have made it into a school like that. Josie left in tears with her friends. Am I the asshole? Yeah, Josie, did you ever think of maybe balancing your time better between being an orphan who's striving to get their groceries paid for by working while at school, and being the daughter of a lawyer and a nurse practitioner? Did you ever think about just balancing your time? Kinda sounds like you still have a thing for Olivia, but Josie is right, by the way, just fundamentally so. That having more money means you have access to more opportunities like schools that are nicer, because, well, for starters, your parents are going to be able to get you the education and tutors and all that kind of stuff to make sure you have good SAT scores, or ACT scores, depending on what part of the country you're in. On top of that, they're going to be able to reliably get you to more volunteer hours, or extracurricular activities, or things that'll look good on a college resume. Things that kids who have to try to work for groceries while they're in high school aren't going to have access to. Olivia very well may have worked really hard, but Olivia's parents helped her train for that. They paid for the best coaches. They paid for everything she needs to run the best time. Olivia still had to train hard, though. She still had to work for that. Josie, on the other hand, just had an encounter in the locker room with the ankle breaker man, who just took an aluminum bat to her ankles, and now she's expected to run her best time. Josie still completed the 100-meter dash, by the way, just not at the same pace that Olivia was able to. Because Josie had her ankles broken in the locker room by the ankle breaker man. And you just looked at her and asked, did you try not having your ankles broken by the ankle breaker man? Did you try not being an orphan? And you said that to your girlfriend, man. What the hell? Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for refusing to go to my sister's wedding, knowing that it means most of our family won't attend? Throwaway account. I, 40 female, am significantly older than my sister, 25 female. As such, after she was born, I was repeatedly looked over and parentified by my parents in favor of her. Examples of this include giving my old clothes and toys to her, without my permission, rather than preserving them as a keepsake of my childhood. In short, my inner child has had to do a lot of healing over the years. I am low contact with my parents and sister, but apparently she's engaged and wants me to be a part of the wedding party. Now, I'm not comfortable around children of any age. It is part of my trauma. Being around them for me comes with a sense of responsibility that reminds me of the neglect I suffered at the hands of my family. My sister knows this, so I assume with her asking me to be in the wedding, that the wedding would be child-free. During a discussion, she mentioned her fiancé's best friend's daughter would be serving as flower girl, and our cousin's son would be ring bearer. I reminded her that I would not be comfortable around children, and expressed my disappointment that she would invite me to be in a wedding that is not child-free. She looked sad for a second and told me that there were many young children in families that are close to her and her fiancé, and the day would feel incomplete without them. And if I really wasn't comfortable around children to that extent, she would understand if I'm unable to attend. I was shocked that she would uninvite me in favor of random kids, and it reminded me of being thrown aside in favor of her when we were young, so I left to collect myself. I attempted to ask my parents to talk some sense into her, but surprise, surprise, they took her side. At this point, I was deeply hurt and needed an outlet, so I did something that might make me the asshole. I'm friends with some other family members on Facebook, and I made a post about how my sister was kicking me out of the wedding and that my parents were taking her side, all because of the trauma that they contributed to themselves. I didn't go into detail because I didn't think it was anyone else's business. I just wanted to vent. Now people are apparently refusing to go to my sister's wedding unless I'm reinstated as part of the wedding. She and my parents are begging me to come, but still refusing to budge on the children being there. So it doesn't make much of a difference to me. I do feel bad because I didn't know that our family would refuse to come, but I cannot go to an event that has many children running around or retract my statement because I don't want the family to think I lied. Am I the asshole for refusing to go? Edit. For those of you suggesting therapy, I'm in therapy. My therapist is incredible and helped me realize how heavily my past has affected me. I have yet to discuss the Facebook post with her, but we'll see what she has to say. Probably nothing fucking good. I don't have a lot of nice things to say about you right now. Mostly just a lot of mean things. So the only examples in your post that you gave of parentification is that you had to give toys away and clothes away. I'm sorry, but this is pretty normal in a lot of family structures that aren't middle class. This is just normal. Does it suck? Yeah, it does. But this isn't parentification. Now, maybe there are more examples and this was just a poor example. And if that is the case and you really truly can't be around children, you rescinding your sister's invitation towards you because she has children at the wedding is the responsible thing to do. What is not responsible, and is actually just downright fucking monstrous by the way, for you to then go on Facebook after you rescinded your sister's invitation because she was not willing to uninvite people for having children, you blasted her on Facebook saying she uninvited you when you chose not to attend. You left out key information, and you refused to take that back because you don't want to come across as a liar. Well, guess what? You fucking are. This feels more like you're just tanking your sister's wedding out of spite. And if you were parentified, you're taking it out on the wrong person. She didn't ask for that. This was not the life she signed up for. You are punishing her for the sins of your parents. OP unfortunately clarified further examples of parentification. When asked in the comments to give more than just giving up toys and clothes, OP responds with several that I was not able to share due to the word count. I attended a community college and lived at my parents' house during that time, and there were repeated instances of my having to pick up my sister from school or activities on my way back, with no regard to the fact that I may have work to do at home or want to relax. I was once left alone with my sister for 2 days and 1 night after my grandfather died and my parents had to leave the state. I wanted to be with my grandmother and family too, but my sister, who was 9 at the time and easily could have stayed with a friend or something, obviously just had to come first. I moved out of my parents' home at 26, and for the whole 11 years I lived with her, I was expected to help around the house with common tasks like dishes or vacuuming, whereas she was only responsible for her room and cleaning up after herself. I could go on. Please do, because if that's the examples you came up with... Okay, wait, hold on, let's see. Moved out 26, 15-year age gap. She was 11. She was 11. Oh my god, on your way back from community college, you had to pick up your sister? And on top of that, on a traumatic night when your grandfather died unexpectedly, you had to babysit for 2 days on one instance? Oh, the horror. I had to do chores. Yeah. Dude, what the fuck? I'm sorry for giving you benefit of the doubt. Good lord. You need a new therapist, like ASAP. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for getting upset after my girlfriend handed me food with a hard seed without warning me? My girlfriend and I got into an argument, and I'm wondering if I'm overreacting. We were on a trip with her family. I did all the driving, planning, the itinerary, and was already exhausted from the night before. By that point, I wasn't even hungry. She kept offering me food and encouraging me to eat, even though I said I wasn't hungry. Eventually, I took a bite just to stop the back and forth. It turned out to be a tamarind, and she didn't tell me there was a hard seed inside. I bit down hard enough that I thought I cracked my tooth, and my jaw was sore for hours afterward. I got angry and said, "Why didn't you tell me there was a seed in the food?" Instead of saying, "Sorry, I should have warned you," she told me it was my fault because she doesn't take big bites. This isn't the first time something like this has happened. In the past, she's handed me food with rind or other unpleasant parts as a joke to get a laugh, so this felt like part of a pattern rather than an isolated mistake. What bothered me most wasn't the tamarind itself, it was that I felt pressured into eating when I wasn't hungry, wasn't warned by the seed, and then was blamed after I got hurt. She says, "You always get mad at me," while I feel like she dismisses my concerns instead of acknowledging her part in what happened. Am I the asshole for getting angry and feeling disrespected? So I gotta fully admit, I had to Google what a tamarind was because I've never heard of them. Probably not pronouncing it right either. I was maybe expecting like a peach or something that was more fruit-shaped. Look, out of all the fruit on this planet that scream, "This had seeds in them," this is the one. This is the one where it just, you can see the seed bulge. Like, if I was handed this and told to eat it, I'm gonna nibble on it to figure out what the hell is in there, because this is not something I'm just gonna chomp down on as hard as I possibly can. There very well may be other issues within your relationship that you gotta address, but like, dude, this is on you. Like, out of all the foods that scream, "I'm 90% seed," this is most certainly the one. Like, you look at this and you tell me that you're gonna chomp into this at full force that could potentially chip a tooth. Like, again, it sounds like you and your girlfriend have a lot more going on under the hood that you guys gotta talk about, but like, dude, look at this. Just look at it. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for borrowing girlfriend's laptop? Since world events, COVID, staying at girlfriend's. She works from home. I don't have to work, but have full salary. I kill time by watching shows, playing online games, and hanging out with girlfriend when she's not working. Yesterday, my laptop broke. I don't know what's wrong with it, and I'll have to bring it in. My girlfriend has 2 laptops, one for work and one for fun. Her work is encrypted or something, so she doesn't like using it for general browsing. I asked to borrow her extra laptop yesterday for my game. She said after her movie ended because she was streaming from Fun Laptop to TV and working at the same time. It would be about 1.5 hours. When she went to the washroom, I took her Fun Laptop and switched to a similar movie on Netflix. Similar? Don't understand why she had to watch this movie right now. She has Netflix, Amazon, Crave, and Disney+. So many options to choose from. Like, she's a bit privileged with a smart TV in her room, her guest room, and her living room. An Xbox, PlayStation 4, Switch, N64. Sometimes I think she just likes having the best of everything. Anyhow, she got really upset with me and said I violated her boundaries. Big fight last night. She made me sleep in the guest room. My guy friends think she's overreacting, like it's just a movie. This morning she said she slept on it and feels like we need a break and asked me to leave. I left this afternoon to my parents, but borrowed the... What? But borrowed the extra laptop until I get mine fixed. She called freaking out, called me a thief, said she'll call the cops, accused me of being an asshole, but my mom thinks she needs to chill. Maybe do a spa day or something. Like, she has 2 laptops and all these gaming devices. I think she'll be fine. So am I the asshole for borrowing my girlfriend's laptop? Update. So after a long conversation, my girlfriend has told me that there were a few things in the last 7 weeks that has really upset her that she felt she gave me many hints. She didn't tell me outright though. I told her I was sorry and it was a really dick move for me to take her laptop. My brother dropped it off earlier. I'm 23 male and she's 26 female. I don't know why people want to know that. She accused me of using her for free housing, food and stuff. I talked with my brother and he said it's common sense to chip to these things because she's my girlfriend and not my mom. I guess I'm an idiot, but at the same time, I wish he just straight up asked me for money to contribute versus we're running out of toilet paper or we just used a quarter of gas on this trip. Like, sure, maybe after the first few hints when you weren't getting it, she probably should have been more direct, but like, what kind of animal are you that you just like, oh yeah, she said she's using her laptop, but I'm just gonna take it anyways and put on a, not the same, but similar movie on Netflix instead. Plus, she has like a bunch of stuff. I guess she always has to have the best of everything. Okay. So what if? God, is having nice things a crime now? Like, you were getting paid a salary, but you didn't contribute, you didn't pay for anything. You were just kind of freeloading off of her space. And then you took her laptop when she kicked you out. Because you took her laptop when she said to wait an hour and a half for a movie to end. Are you 23? Or 7? I just don't understand why she has an extra laptop, one for work that's apparently encrypted or something, and then a fun laptop. Like, why does she need 2? You pretty much called your girlfriend spoiled, or hopefully ex-girlfriend, and then didn't take her grievances seriously until you got your brother's opinion on it, which is telling. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend that she can't speak Japanese to my parents during Thanksgiving? I, male 35, have met my girlfriend, female 30, at work. We're both interpreters. We've been together for a few months, and Thanksgiving will be the first time she's going to meet my parents. I'm half Japanese. My dad is Japanese, my mother is American. My mother learned Japanese so she can connect with my paternal side of the family. Me and my siblings all speak Japanese. However, none of my siblings' spouses do. My girlfriend Sasha started learning Japanese before it got popular. She started learning it when she was 14, has both a BA and MA in Japanese in translation and interpreting. She sounds as close to a native speaker as possible. However, I warned her that she shouldn't try and speak Japanese when meeting my parents or grandparents and that she's forbidden from using it, even when I'm using it with my siblings. She asked why. And I told her that I'd hate for my sister-in-laws and brother-in-laws to be uncomfortable because they don't speak it, and I don't want her to become my parents/grandparents' favorite because we've only been together a few months, and it wouldn't be fair if they liked her more than my sister-in-law of 10 years who doesn't speak Japanese. She said that's ridiculous, and she shouldn't have to hide it. I said that perhaps later when we've been together for longer. She asked if she had to pretend not to understand me and my siblings when we talk. And I said, exactly. She got really weird and went home. She's been kinda distant lately, and I told a friend about this, and they said that I was a major asshole. And if they ask about her job, she's gonna have to lie as well. I admit, I hadn't thought of that, but I still can't see that I did anything wrong. So am I the asshole for demanding she lies? So, yeah, obviously. Like, dude. When they find out later that she can speak Japanese fluently, they're gonna realize, oh, why did you hide that from us? And, oh, you understood everything we said around you. That's gonna create a lot of unnecessary tension. That's gonna suck. See, but my personal pet theory, my tinfoil hat theory if you would, it's not that he's afraid that she'll be like more than his sister-in-laws and brother-in-laws. It's that she'll be liked. And he's not ready for that commitment yet. It's that they'll be very excited that he's dating someone who speaks Japanese, that his parents will really like her, and he's not ready for that commitment yet. Thus why he's using all the random bullshit excuses and, not realizing the fact that he's pretty much asking his girlfriend to erase her life's work while meeting his parents. Hey, you know the thing you've dedicated your life to? Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask you to pretend like you just never did any of that for your entire life. Why are you mad at me? Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Would I be the asshole for asking my husband to let go of his best worker over a hunch? My, female 40, husband, male 43, has this worker, male 19, who he loves. He calls him his son, lets him eat our food, tells him his life lessons. The boy began working for us when he was around 14. Just little things like mowing the yard, stacking our firewood, going on errand runs for us, normal chore-like work for a young kid. It was an immediate hire when he turned 16. The boy is very tall and fit to work, etc. Already pretty trustworthy and seemed to be a hard worker, so my husband put him to work in his shop, mechanic. The issue is that we have a daughter, female 18. That alone should probably sum it up. She's our only child, and me and my husband are very protective of her. We have her raised with strong Catholic and traditional Mexican values, and she understands no boys allowed until she leaves the house. And when boys come to question, it should be for marriage and not to play. Since summer started, from day to night, my daughter will sit in my husband's garage and just watch this kid work, from 12 to 6 sometimes, when I'm home and can witness it. I'm truly disturbed. I'm worried about her heart posture and what she may be thinking. The boy is no better. We live in a smallish town about an hour from one of the bigger, more popular cities, which my daughter enjoys going to greatly, and has since she was young. He's taken her in his truck frequently since the start of June, 3 times in 1 week at a point. I got into a discussion about this situation to my husband, and he continues to defend him, saying he's trustworthy and smart. The straw that broke this camel's back is when the other night I got a feeling, likely God, and went to my daughter's room to check on her. I almost had a full heart attack when I saw this kid in there. My daughter is absolutely not allowed to have men or boys in her room. Not even my husband, her father, has gone into her room to respect privacy. Even when her primos, male cousins, come over, they are strictly not allowed near or in her room. Obviously, he knows this, and I don't know where he got the gall. This was after sundown, completely inappropriate. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with this anymore, and I'm thinking to tell my husband to just get rid of the boy. But I know it might break my husband's heart. This kid is the son my husband never got, and since this boy has a single mother, it's a very mutual situation. When Father's Day comes, the kid always has something for my husband. That's how close the two of them have grown. And of course, the boy could stay in contact with my husband. He could even work for him. I just don't think he should be working anywhere near my daughter whatsoever. I don't know what to do. Let them date? I don't know. She's 18. You should let her. You should let her, have feelings. And this is a good guy. By your own admission, he's a great guy. Isn't this the kind of guy you would want for your daughter? Someone who's responsible, smart, a hard worker. Like, come on, he's the full package deal. Your daughter's got a good opportunity. They're also, adults. This is literally the son your husband never had. Like, just everything lines up. It just sounds like you're more interested in having control over your daughter than actually letting her be happy. Like, fuck, out of all the ways that she could rebel, she's rebelling in a positive way. Cross-posted from r/relationship advice. Me, 30 male, my wife, 23 female, married for 1 year and 6 months. Our marriage isn't falling apart. How can I fix this? This is a burner account, and I don't intend on giving any personal information to keep our identity and location discreet. Me, 30, wife, 23, have been together since September of 2024. Met online, and it was love at first sight on our first date at a local bar. Dated for 6 months and got married in February of 2025. Moved in together and stayed in an apartment in Georgia for a year until April 2026. Backtrack to July of 2025 is about the time she got pregnant with our first child while on vacation to Hawaii. She works for a hotel chain, so she gets crazy cheap discounts anywhere in the country. So every couple months or so, we would make the occasional hotel reservation to take advantage of her discount. This is important later. Around December, her pregnancy symptoms became concerning. Fainting spells, massive weight loss, irritability, headaches, etc. So she quit her job to stay at home, so I became the sole provider for our family, and am still now today, July of 2026. Fast forward to our son's birth in March of this year. December until now, the pregnancy was very hard on her, and our son was born C-section, a week shy of the 9-month mark. Very healthy, 9 pounds, no health problems whatsoever. We spent 3 days in the hospital until my wife was healed up enough to be discharged from the hospital. I was having a difficult time adjusting to the life of a father for the first couple of weeks after birth, and my wife wasn't having any of it. If she saw me in distress or unhappy, she would go out of her way, even though her doctor ordered her to take it easy, to do household chores or baby duties, and make me feel awful every step of the way, guilt-tripping me because I didn't do everything with a smile and no complaints. Our parenting styles constantly conflicted, and we butt heads repeatedly about decisions regarding our son's life, and her helicopter parenting style, and her inability to trust me in caring for our child. Every new parent makes small mistakes, and I got burned by her every time I did something that could be conceived as harmful to our child. She would coach me every step of the way of his care like she was a baby expert, even though I had experience with my own siblings growing up when I was younger. Our 1-year lease was up on our Georgia apartment at the beginning of April. Also, my job was contract work and had expired. So the following month after our son was born, we agreed to move back to my home state in Texas, away from her family, so I really respected her leaving them behind to move across the country with me, especially since she's actively recovering from her C-section at the time and has been in constant pain. My mother helped us find an apartment that's within our budget. It's a low-income apartment, so some problems were to be expected, and we had to take her word for it being a safe home for our family. But it has been nothing but a nightmare since we moved in. Every day my wife would blame me, yelling at me for such a low budget for a 2-bedroom apartment in North Texas, $1,500 a month after bills, and I've been unemployed since February living off savings, which she believes is that only low-income areas have millipede infestations. Maintenance has done nothing to solve this. I have struggled finding work ever since we moved here in April, so I went to a job fair and had no luck finding any work yet again, but got approached by a recruiter for a school that I can qualify for with government assistance for some much-needed certifications to advance my technical knowledge. So I went home with this flyer and talked to my wife about it, and we came to an agreement that this class in California would give me the skills to land a very successful career shortly after graduation. She said she could hold down the fort with our son for 6 weeks so I could go to school. Found out halfway through my schooling she got diagnosed with postpartum depression/rage. I was gone the whole month of June, and this millipede infestation got worse and worse with her phobia of them. Made her lose her mind, so the blame game of subjecting her to living in these awful conditions continued every day for almost the entire 6 weeks, and fortunately right around the time I left, our son had started sleeping through most of the night, so the restless nights of infancy were coming to an end, but he was still very clingy and constantly cried when she would put him down. Now, these are the real problems, and the purpose of this post has been the major issues these past couple of weeks that I desperately need an outside perspective for. While at school, she had a very hard time caring for our son as the only main person caring for him and fighting a bug infestation at the same time. Turns out my son developed a serious rash across his body from them. I had offered her solutions, suggesting her to stay at my sister's house as she had a spare bedroom to escape the bugs. I gave her my mother and best friend to watch our son 2 days a week for a few hours so she can have alone time to take care of errands and herself because our son's been overly clingy, needing 100% of her energy. And eventually she stayed at a hotel for a couple of nights to cool off and decompress, but she still got progressively worse until one of the nights she told me she had to leave the apartment and take a flight to another state to get away since she's been alone and depressed. I called her multiple times a day. What could I really do? And had told me nothing about her coming back. She had a meltdown and told me she regretted everything, meeting me and having our son, called me a terrible husband, the whole 9 yards. I begged her not to leave with our child and stay with my family, but she wouldn't budge and told me she doesn't know if she would ever come back and ignored my calls after telling me all of that and told me to try to stop her. So naturally I panicked because I thought I'd never see my son again, and while still being stuck in California, mind you, so I made a bad judgment call and called my family at midnight and begged my mom with tears in my eyes to go get our son from my wife because she's packing to take him to another state the next day. So she drove over to the apartment with my stepfather and completely caught her off guard, and she let them in and tried to manipulate them into thinking everything's okay. But after about half an hour of talking to her and explaining that she can't just run away without my permission and offering to watch our son for the night, they gave up and went home to let her be. So she called me back and exploded, telling me I got my family involved in our maternal affairs, ambushed her in the middle of the night, and tried to kidnap our son from her when the entire time I was secretly on the phone, listening to the whole exchange. So we talked about separating, and for the next couple hours, with tears in my eyes, I cried out begging her to stay and keep our family together, which she agreed to give me another chance. Fast forward a couple days, my mom offered me a rental car and hotel room to meet her for the weekend in Vegas for her annually scheduled trip since it was a small drive from where I was in California. I don't have to go to school on the weekends. I agreed and later that day called my wife and told her where I was going, and she told me if I go to Vegas with the people who tried to kidnap her baby, this is the turning point in our marriage. I thought she was being selfish just to punish my mom from not getting to see me, but later found out after the trip she was having thoughts of self-harm. So against her wishes, I went to Vegas for the weekend because my mom's older and still sick all the time with heart issues and high blood pressure. So I did this because I didn't know how much longer she had. Fast forward to present day when I got back from school, and she told me to make it up to her for being gone for 6 weeks and showed me a cheap hotel room in the Florida Keys with her hotel discount for $40 a night. 4 nights, but the only catch is the $2,300 airfare tickets to fly out there, and I told her, no! We have enough savings to make it 3 more months, and I just got back from school, so I was still job prospecting and had a few interviews lined up, but no job offers. But she insists I'm going to get one of these jobs anyway, and we'll be able to afford a new apartment to escape the bugs since we got a medical document for our son from our doctor to waive the fees to get out of our lease. So she loses her mind and tells me we're getting a divorce now if we don't figure something out in therapy this Saturday. This was a big rant. I really appreciate you taking the time to read this, but I'm stuck. I don't know what to do, and I want to save my marriage and make things right, so Saturday's a big day for my marriage, and I want to know how I could make things right for her. How do I fix this? Edit, from what I've seen in the comments, let me rephrase one important detail I didn't find important until brought up several times. She immigrated to America in 2020. Her only family in Georgia kicked her out to the dogs, and she was living on her own for 2 years before I met her. She's fully disowned them and will never see them again. She would never return to them and has talked about returning to her home country, back to her parents' home. Too long didn't read. Wife went through a tough pregnancy, left Georgia a month after giving birth via C-section, living off of life savings, now moved back to Texas, went to a 6-week school to further education, and now she wants me to pay back the time apart and difficulties she went through alone with a $3,000 vacation even though I'm unemployed. How do you helicopter parent a newborn? I just have so many questions about this. I thought you were moving to Texas because you had a job lined up, but you didn't, and then you went to a job fair, got conned to take a course, fell for it, took the class, haven't gotten any immediate job offers after a 6-week course, which while you were taking that 6-week course, you went to Vegas with your mom while your wife was back at home dealing with a millipede infestation that was giving your child rashes. And when your wife wanted to go somewhere where she would be safe, presumably Georgia, you had your mom, who you said is apparently on death's door, stop her and attempt to kidnap your own child? She can't escape the millipede hell without my permission! You left your postpartum wife alone with your newborn child in a millipede-infested hellscape. You had your mom, who's apparently on death's door, show up after she was ready to leave to get to safety. She's breaking down. You went to Vegas while apparently going to school, never visited her, and when she actually did what had to be done, you classified that as guilt tripping and are claiming she's helicopter parenting a newborn. And I feel like I'm missing so much because of just how much that was. Also, in case I'm the first person to tell you, 99% of the time, if someone tells you they have a 6-week course that you can pay for and you're guaranteed to get job offers, you're the product. Also, what the fuck was up with the I asked with tears in my eyes? Just, dude, what the hell? I hope your wife leaves you. Seriously. Cross posted from r/AmITheAsshole Unfiltered. Ooh, God knows I'm gonna be taking a look at that one. Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend I wish she'd stop dressing so modestly? I, 29 male, have been with my girlfriend, 27 female, for about 8 months. Overall, our relationship is good. We get along, have similar interests, rarely argue, and I genuinely care about her. The biggest issue between us is how she dresses. My girlfriend dresses very modestly. Even in the middle of summer, she'll wear long skirts, loose jeans, high neck tops, oversized sweaters, and clothes that don't really show her figure. She almost never wears anything fitted or revealing. The thing is, I absolutely hate that style. I'm not trying to control her, I just don't like modesty. I personally find it incredibly unattractive. It's probably my biggest physical turnoff. I love it when women dress confidently and wear clothes that show off their figure. It doesn't have to be over the top, but I like dresses, fitted tops, shorts, skirts, things like that. My girlfriend dresses in the exact opposite way. Over the last few months, I've suggested buying her clothes that I think she'd look amazing in. Sometimes when we're shopping, I'll point out outfits I think would suit her. I've even offered to pay for them. She always says some version of, "That's just not me." Last weekend we were getting ready to go out for dinner. She came downstairs wearing another oversized sweater and a long skirt. I sighed and asked if she'd ever consider wearing something a little more flattering. She asked what I meant, and I admitted that I really don't like how modestly she dresses. I told her I find modest fashion unattractive, and that I wish she'd wear outfits that were a bit more fitted or showed a little more skin. She got quiet, then asked if I was embarrassed to be seen with her. I said no, that wasn't it at all. I just wish she'd make more of an effort with her appearance because I know she's beautiful, and I feel like she hides it under baggy clothes. She told me she dresses the way she does because it's what she's comfortable in, not because she's trying to impress anyone. She also said she'd rather have a boyfriend who likes her style instead of constantly trying to change it. I replied that people compromise in relationships all the time, and I don't think occasionally dressing in a way I find attractive was an unreasonable request. She said it wasn't really a request anymore because I've brought it up so many times that it feels like constant criticism. She said she's starting to feel like every time she gets dressed, she's going to be judged by me. Since then, things have been very tense. She says she doesn't want to feel like she has to dress for my approval, and I've been wondering whether this is just basic incompatibility. Some of my friends think everyone has physical preferences, and there's nothing wrong with communicating them. Others think repeatedly asking someone to change how they dress because it suits my tastes is disrespectful. Am I the asshole? The following comment from OP pretty much explains exactly what I feel I gotta say. User French Fries 0306 comments, "Sorry, but you're the asshole. I understand liking and disliking certain styles, but this isn't just style for her, it's comfort. No doubt she would feel like all you care about is her body and appearance, and also just doesn't want to draw attention to herself. In the nicest way possible, you finding women dressing in a way that shows more skin or to be tight-fitting to show off curves is probably exactly what she's avoiding. If she starts dressing like that, men of all ages will now be eyeing off your girlfriend." OP responds, "Why would she see that as a bad thing? She's supposed to enjoy that." I feel this perfectly encapsulates any thought I could possibly have on the situation and explains exactly what the problem is here. You're an idiot. Need I say more? Oh, yay. Outro. I'm gonna be real. I am very tired. I miscalculated greatly as to how this video would get done. I've been trying to cram as much as I possibly can so I can actually have the days off that I allocated, and it left me with having to record Devil as like the 5th video today, and I still have a lot of editing I gotta do. So, I'm tired. I'm looking forward to my days off, but it kind of sucks that in order for me to get a day off, it comes at this cost here. So, sorry if today seemed off or a little off basis. I'm definitely feeling it. What am I feeling, you might be asking? Gamer subs, use code KEYZ at checkout. If that segue makes sense, I don't know, and I don't care. Code KEYZ will give you 10% off, so that's pretty cool. You know what? I think I'm gonna get a pizza. That sounds awesome right now. And you can't stop me.